Today, we will be talking about something almost every mother experiences in that first week, and that is breast engorgement. If you're pregnant and listening, this episode is gold for you. If your baby has just arrived and your breasts are feeling maybe hot, hard, full, tight, huge, bigger than you ever expected, take a deep breath. You're not broken. This is not a sign that breastfeeding is not going to work for you. We can fix this, and I will share with you what actually helps.
Hey, Mama Bear. Welcome to the Breastfeeding with Confidence podcast. Do you dream of bonding with your baby through exclusive breastfeeding, but worry about breastfeeding pain or low milk supply? Maybe you're struggling with breastfeeding and no one seems to have any answers. I'm Jaimie, doula, international board certified lactation consultant, and mom of 5, and I have been where you are. After working through painful latches, milk supply worries, and postpartum depression, and supporting countless mothers through their breastfeeding journeys for over 8 years, I'm here to tell you breastfeeding doesn't have to be perfect to be positive. Each week, I'll share breastfeeding tips to help you prevent and overcome unexpected breastfeeding challenges so you can actually enjoy bonding with your baby. If you are ready to shut out the toxic whispers of the world, embrace your God-given intuition, and release your inner fierce mama bear, grab some coffee or your favorite herbal tea, and let's dive in.
Before we get started with anything, I would like to invite you to grab the 5 mistakes to avoid when breastfeeding guide at littlebearlactation.com/mistakes. That's littlebearlactation.com/mistakes. There you will get access to my free guide on the most common mistakes I see new moms make when they start breastfeeding. Whether you are pregnant or your baby has already arrived, you can benefit from getting clarity and avoiding these common mistakes so that you can breastfeed with confidence. Something I wish I could go back and tell my younger mom self is that you're allowed to be cared for too. Postpartum is not the time to be surviving on snacks or whatever you can grab one-handed while bouncing your baby. Your body needs real nourishment, warmth, softness, and foods that support recovery. But actually making that happen in the chaos of newborn life can feel impossible. So when I found Restorative Roots, it honestly felt like someone finally understood what postpartum is really like. Their meals are everything I wish I'd had: organic, grounding, traditional foods made with intentional ingredients and so much care. And they show up at your door when you need them most. I'm so grateful they are supporting the show, but I am more grateful that a company like them exists for moms today, moms like you. If you're in that season or preparing for it, take a look at restorativeroots.com and give yourself permission to be nourished. You can go ahead and grab the link in the show notes and save it in your Safari or Google Chrome tab so that you don't lose it and you can go back and order it later, or tell a friend who wants to help that they can order some for you or get you a gift card. Another thing during that first week that is so hard is not just nourishing your body, but like trying to figure out how to live in this body that feels so different than what you're used to. I remember I grew up watching Baywatch, okay? And so I loved Pamela Anderson, but I wanted to grow up and have Pamela Anderson boobs. And I was quite let down when I found out that I was a like full A, mid B cup. And I always felt like, oh, I'm going to get a boob job one day, this and that, this and that. And then I eventually decided and realized, like, no, I absolutely don't want a boob job. And that's no shade to anybody who does. I just am glad I never chose to. But I still kind of always wanted bigger boobs, right? A lot of girls do. And then I had my baby. And I remember going to the beach and we were laughing so hard because I told my mom, I was like, look, I finally got that boob job I always wanted, only it came from that baby over there. I was blown away by the changes that happened to my breast, and not just during pregnancy, right? Like, yes, there were changes during pregnancy. My breast got larger and everything, but that first week or two of breastfeeding, when engorgement happens, this is when a lot of people experience pain. And that's why a lot of people say pain is normal with breastfeeding. They're referring to engorgement. Okay. So first let's define engorgement, talk about what it is, what it's not, and then figure out how we solve it. Okay. So there's a lot of confusion around engorgement. A lot of people think is like your milk coming in and your breast filling up with milk, like to the brim. Okay. And now I will say, as your milk transitions and your mature milk comes in, it can feel like it comes in hot, hard, and fast for some women. This is frequently accompanied with inflammation and increased lymph fluid, which is the real factor here that we need to address. Okay, so it's not just milk, it's a combination of increased milk volume, increased blood flow, lymphatic fluid, and inflammation. If you had fluids in labor, it can be increased interstitial fluid. That means fluid between the tissues in your breast. So there could just be there's a lot going on, right? A lot of fluid all gathering in your breast. And so if you've been told that you're engorged because you have a lot of milk or because your milk just came in, like that's an oversimplification. Some women will have engorgement and have low milk supply. Other women will have an oversupply and never really battle engorgement or not hard. Okay. So this is a physiological thing. It's expected and it should be temporary when it's handled correctly. When engorgement becomes a problem is when it's not handled well. Okay. So engorgement can cause latching difficulty, which can cause nipple trauma. It can mean your baby starts transferring milk poorly because they're not latched well. And then we can get clogged ducts because of that inflammation compressing the milk ducts. This can lead to mastitis. And then suddenly you're supplementing early and you're thinking your baby's not getting enough milk. All right. This is the spiral. And a lot of times this can come back to engorgement. So the goal here is not to just like eliminate the fullness. The goal is to keep the milk moving, protecting the breast tissue and the latch. These are the things we really need to be concerned about. So step one, we're going to feed early and feed often. Always, we're feeding on demand 8 to 12 times a day in the first 24 hours. That will continue for quite a while, typically closer to 12 times. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Allow baby to finish the first breast before switching sides. Avoid rigid schedules, okay? But here's the thing. That frequent feeding only helps if the milk is actually being transferred. If your baby has a shallow latch because you are feeling engorged and your breasts are large with all of this swelling and everything, then we have a problem. So we need to soften the areola before we latch because a baby can't latch onto a hard rock. This is one of the most overlooked strategies and it's a game changer. It's called reverse pressure softening. And I do teach this inside of the Confident Mama Breastfeeding Academy, but basically we're going to be gently applying pressure around the areola to kind of just push all the fluid back a little bit so that the breast is soft and your baby can latch. This one is a little controversial, but I recommend using warm and cold compresses strategically. They both can have a place, but we have to be intentional. Okay, so before feedings, gentle warmth can help that letdown reflex. It can support that letdown reflex. It can help the milk flow. But after feeding, we really need to make sure we've got cold packs or chilled compresses, okay? Because that reduces the swelling, calms the inflammation. It brings relief. In between feeds, if we're feeling full, but the baby doesn't want to nurse, or we're just feeling that pressure, instead of just being like, oh, I have to go pump and all this stuff because I'm so full. Don't do that. That's going to increase milk. It's going to increase swelling. It's going to increase everything. We need to use cold compresses at those times, okay? And then we want to try gentle massage, not that aggressive rubbing, none of those like big, deep, like plastic hard things to massage your breast tissue. We don't want to cause more trauma to the tissue. We want to use lymphatic drainage, okay? We want to use light strokes toward the armpit, and we want this to be a slow and rhythmic movement. We are not trying to like force milk out. We're actually trying to move some of that fluid to the lymph nodes, which we do have like up in the armpit area. So those are a few things that we really want to make sure we are thinking about and considering. Another one is hand expression and not over pumping. I mentioned how we don't want to start pumping like crazy. If you really do need to remove milk without your baby, you don't necessarily need to pump. Hand expression is usually enough if we're focusing on comfort. I hope this answered some of your questions about engorgement. If you want to learn more about how to navigate the first weeks of breastfeeding, you can join the Confident Mama Breastfeeding Academy. The link is in the show notes, or you can go ahead and reach out and book a prenatal consultation to create your own breastfeeding plan.